another one, though, this was no dream. This gentleman, he had attempted suicide, and he woke up in the hospital and turned to his bedside, and there was the Hat Man sitting there looking at him. And he said, "I almost had you." And he disappeared.
Oh, my gosh. Now, is the hat, Heidi, always on, or does he sometimes take it off?
I've heard of him tipping his hat. I have not heard of him taking it off where people have seen him take it off.
I wonder if they'd see horns there.
That would totally be highly disturbing. But he's tipped his hat in acknowledging people, witnessing him. But I have not heard of any horns or anything like that showing up. That would be really, really awful. So he is communicating, and he is essentially admitting to being the devil. So people's feeling, their notion, seems to be correct. Now, there is also another entity that has been showing up that people would write to me about, and I have some drawings up that, again, as my research has progressed with these shadow people, I'm getting a clear understanding of them. And there's a hooded one, and when people would describe to me, the shadow person with the hood, and I'm like, oh no, shadow people do not have anything solid that can be recognized to be a hood, a hat, or anything like that. They are shadows. They're very, very thick as being shadows and whatnot. But excuse me.
Sure.
But there's a Grim Reaper type of being showing up. Very, very tall, very dangly, very skinny, very solid. Once again, this guy has been seen walking along roadsides. And
do people die when they come in contact with this thing?
They do not die, but it seems like they feel grim when they do see this thing and know that it's up to no good, and know that it poses to be no good. And one story in particular was really disturbing that I got in connection to this Grim Reaper creature. A gentleman wrote me telling me how in broad daylight he saw smaller hooded type creatures with red eyes coming over treetops, coming toward him, and he just got this distinct feeling. He knew they were coming for him. There were two of them. He knew they were coming for him. He ran inside his house. They left. Second time he saw them, he looked outside his window, broad daylight. Two of them came. They came right through his window this time and grabbed him. One grabbed under each arm and pulled him over treetops and took him to, he said, what looked almost to be like a rundown castle-looking type building, and took him inside where this Grim Reaper, this taller, 8 to 10 foot tall, creature was sitting on this, stone, looking throne thing. And he said he remembers conversing with this creature, and he said he knew that he wasn't going to be able to recall all the things that were being told him, but he did know this thing said, "I'll send for you again." And he knew that this thing meant business, and that it was not a good thing for this thing to want to have contact with them again. And he was sent away by the two smaller hooded creatures and took him back to his home. And he wrote me essentially asking, how can I make sure this guy doesn't, send for me again, how to protect myself. So I just wanted to make a distinction that these hooded ones are something that I'm still looking into, trying to figure what is going on with this Grim Reaper type of creature. But it's something I think that's important to note when it comes to shadow people, the Hat Man, this Grim Reaper type guy.
And are you saying that the ETs that are hooked into this shadow, this Hat Man, this Hat Man, not and shadow people as well, are they all related? All related?
They are related in a sense because of their roles that they're playing. The shadow people are essentially the force behind what's directing the more negative beings to do the abductions, to try to conquer this planet. And this is not the first planet that they've done this to. And in the Bible, it's written of, demonic creatures that could take on any form. I mean, this sounds an awful lot like what these shadow people are able to do. And then to have this Hat Man showing up also in the same area where these shadow people are often being seen, the Grim Reaper-looking creature, same thing. And you gotta, I've had, many people write to me saying, some aliens took me down to a very hot and smelly place, smelled like sulfur, and did experiments on me. Is this the place of torture written of in the Bible and hell? It makes you wonder. You got to make the connection sometime and say, my gosh, is this what was been warned about for all these centuries in the Bible?
If it's happening, it's frightening.
Yes, it is. And it's important to note, though, too, if these things are not actually connected to evil, why on earth do they acknowledge the name Jesus to stay away from them? And God. They don't like light. They don't like things that are positive. When people write to me looking for help, I tell them, bless your home. Wear a religious symbol to bed at night, especially a cross. Of course, I'm Christian, so I tell people to keep that positivity in them, keep that light in them, because these creatures will leave. And I've had people say, I said, oh, God, please help me, when these things came to me, but nothing happened, they still got me. And I'm like, there's that movie, Salem's Lot, where the guy holds up a cross to the vampire, and the vampire takes a cross out of his hand and laughs and says, you got to have faith in order for that to work. So,
exactly, yeah.
That's common sense. You got to have something behind what you're saying.
How disappointing. You think you're able to battle off a vampire, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, but...
Well, what are the possibilities that what people are seeing are still the fallen angels?
I think the possibilities are pretty darn good that these may indeed be the angels written of in the Bible.
Corey.
Yes.
What's up?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
All right. So you remember when you were telling me about the Hat Man a while ago?
Yeah. My buddy Matt. Yeah.
You say your buddy Matt. He's seen like the Hat Man like a few times. What was that all about? Can you tell me about that again?
Yeah. Okay. Well, my buddy Matt. You've met him a couple times. We all grew up in Henderson.
Yeah.
And his family had a house right down there by Basic High School, and it was a pretty old house. They just bought it. They were living there for a couple of years, but it was an older house. It was built probably I think in the 70s, and he was Matt told me he was in middle school, I think. He was like 5th or 6th grade or something like that. And it was just, he told me that he always had a weird feeling there. He always thought the house was haunted or some kind of weird stuff going on or whatever, but he never thought anything of it until they were there for about a year, he said. He said they were living there for like a year and a half or something like that. And all of a sudden, his sister, one night his sister started screaming, freaking out, and ran out of the room, ran into the living room and turned on all the lights in the house and woke everybody up and was freaking out. And their mom came out, their mom and dad woke up and came out and asked her what happened, and she was freaking out saying that there was some man standing in her room right next to her bed, like staring at her and he was wearing like a long coat and a top hat or something like that. Like a black coat and a top hat. And, they're like, what? They didn't believe her or whatever. They probably thought like she was just like dreaming or whatever, so they told her to go back to sleep. And so they all went back to sleep, and nothing else happened that night. But I guess it happened again, 2 nights later, it happened again. She freaked out, screaming. They ran into her room. She was saying the same thing. There was some man with a top hat and a black coat just standing not even next to her bed that time, but at the foot of her bed, and was just staring at her for a minute. And she didn't freak out at first. She was just staring at him, trying to just trying to brush it off, kind of think maybe am I having a nightmare or whatever. And then it pointed at her or something like that. That's what he told me. He said he was staring at her, and then it pointed at her, and then once it pointed at her, she started freaking out or whatever, and that's when she woke up everybody. And this happened a couple more times, I guess, where this guy would just be standing in her room next to her, staring at her. And this went on for, like I said, a couple more times, maybe a couple more weeks, whatever. And then it stopped. And then it stopped, and it wouldn't happen for about a month, I think. And then Matt told me that they moved them. They switched rooms because it wasn't happening, but hold on. There's a cop passing me.
Are you driving?
It wouldn't happen anymore, but she's still freaking out. She's still scared to be in the room, so they switched them. So they put Matt in her room, put her in Matt's room. And then he said after about a week of being in that room, he started kind of freaking out and having a feeling, right? And then one night, he was in the room for about a week and a half, I guess. He woke up one night, and he was kind of just he sat up in his bed, and he was kind of looking around the room. And he looked over to the corner of the room, and he saw the guy that his sister used to see. He saw the guy standing in the corner, just staring at him while he's sleeping. And he freaked out. And, he started screaming, and, the same thing, his parents came in, and he told them, and they're like, okay, well, this is kind of fucking weird,
So, did anything else happen?
Yeah, actually, one night, it was about a week and a half after they moved Matt into that room, and, it was right after he saw the guy for the first time. I guess a few days after that weekend, they all went out for, family dinner. They went out for, a dinner and a movie or whatever, a little family night.
Right.
And they came home. Matt told me they came home around 10 or 11 at night. And they pulled up to the driveway. They pulled up to the house, and all the lights were on in the house. The alarm was going off, and they're freaking out. They're like, "What the hell?" The thing is someone broke in or whatever. So Matt, his sister, and his mom stayed in the car. And his dad ran in the house. Went and checked the house. He said that all the lights were on. The alarm was going off, and the back door was open. And so he checked the entire house. No one was in there. Everything was fine, and nothing seemed to be missing. So, he was confused. He had no idea what was going on. He was thinking, someone broke in and left. Someone broke in. The alarm started going off. I don't know. He had no idea, but he was like, well, no one's here. The house is fine, So he told Matt, his mom, and his sister to come into the house. So they got out of the car and went to the house, and kind of just started walking around the house and just checking stuff. And his sister was standing in the living room and started screaming, freaking out. And so they all ran in the living room, and she was sitting there. She was pointing and staring out the window, freaking out. And they all looked. And Matt said when they all looked, there was this tall, dark man wearing a top hat and a black coat, walking across the front yard.
Holy shit!
And he walked all the way to the edge of the yard until they couldn't see him anymore. And then his mom and dad ran out, and he was gone. Couldn't find him, and they've never seen him since.
Holy crap! Do they still live there?
No, they don't. They moved away. They lived there, I think, for another 8 years. He said, and then they moved into the house that they live now.
Wow. Did you ever show a picture of the Hat Man to Matt?
No, I never did.
Does he know about the Hat Man?
I told him about it. Like, I didn't tell him in detail, but I kind of, I told him a little glimpse of it, but I didn't want to scare him and freaking out too much,
Right, right.
What are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Did you see what it was? Was it a person or an animal or?
I can't tell. All I know is that my central light came on and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man or something. It looks like a man. I don't know what it was. Just that it ran across the yard.
Okay. You've had problems in the neighborhood before?
Yeah, my dog was killed here just recently. I don't know what it was. Whatever it is, it's running. I couldn't catch it if I was going to chase it. So whatever it was standing up. I'm out here looking through the window now. side. Jesus Christ, you better... Deal!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right...
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he doing in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Oh, and the guy is on foot.
I don't know what... It's a big, real big person. That's all I can say.
Okay, but it is a person.
Yeah, I'd say it was a person, somebody really big.